Are you ready to go below the surface, behind? I forgot what the hell she wrote. Have you ever wondered how many samples we travel with in our trunks? Really bad. It's just called 10 questions.
All right, everybody out there in Spartan Nation, if you've seen the last episode here with myself and KJ, the 10 questions with the Spartan, I chose Chuck Schillaci. We're actually in the podcast studios of Spartan Surfaces, and it's a pretty cool place. I guess, listen, really before I get things started off here with Chuck and the 10 questions is, like, why did I pick Chuck? Number one, I know the easiest person to interview in this company as far as getting information out of him is Chuck. Because you can say about 3 words, he's gonna pick it up, carry, run with it.
I'm like a wind-up doll.
And listen, Chuck never disappoints for anything he does in his life. I could just tell he does it about 100 to 110%. Snapshot this, right? Because we've had so much growth in Spartan Surfaces over the last, like, 2 years, say, right? So I know over the years, KJ's always made it a point to, like, you know, put you up on stage during the meeting, right? Just to say, like, listen, we're Spartan, we're regular fellas, you know what I mean? We're just like, you know, again, we're passionate people and we take our job seriously, but we really just don't take ourselves too seriously, 100%. Right? Because we can make fun of ourselves probably more than anyone else probably
Absolutely.
Can, right? 100%. So
got to be able to make fun of yourself.
Let's just get a little bit back into your background, like where you're from. Now, listen, you're obviously not from around here, right?
Not from around here.
So just go ahead, right? Born and raised.
So born and raised Long Island, New York. You know, blue collar town, same town as a coworker of ours, Anthony Ferranti.
Now,
you know,
did you guys go to high school together?
We did go to high school together. I've known Anthony since I'm about 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, really? So that's something I did not know, Chuck.
Yeah,
I didn't realize you guys were boys that
together.
long.
We played soccer together.
Awesome.
And yeah, we grew up in a town called Deer Park. Like I said, blue collar town. You know, $10 separated the richest and the poorest family.
Yeah.
So yeah, so great town. That's where I'm from. And
okay, so you're born and raised Long Island, right? So listen, just like tell me a little bit about like you as a kid, right? Did you get in trouble a lot?
Yes.
All the time? Now,
I was not a very good kid.
Again, I'm not going to sit here and get into your voice and how loud all that is, but I just imagine, listen, much like me, my voice carried a lot, right?
Yeah.
So it was always the one, I'm always getting kind of singled out, so I can only imagine it was probably twofold.
I was singled out quite a bit. And to be quite frank, I brought a lot of it on myself when I was younger. My voice got a little deeper and a little louder as I got older, you know, high school. And then
about
once,
how old, like 6? Huh?
I did always stand out. For whatever reason. If you just saw a picture of 10 kids, for whatever reason, somebody would just point to me.
Gotcha.
I don't not understanding why, but it's always been the case. So I'm used to it.
So you mentioned sports real quick. Like, what was your most proficient sport? Like,
Loved hockey.
Loved hockey?
Loved hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey was my favorite. I played it morning, noon, and night.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big commitment, right? As a sport for your parents, obviously, just like, you know, chucking you around and getting you to ice time, right? Probably 10 o'clock at night.
Well, the worst part of let me clarify. I played the majority of my life. I played roller hockey because, as I mentioned earlier, you know, we weren't poor. We weren't so poor we couldn't afford the R.
So like
but
the
we didn't have
league,
dough.
The roller hockey league.
We didn't have dough for skates and yeah, we didn't have none of that stuff. I played roller hockey.
So like, talk about your family, brothers and sisters, right? You have a brother and a sister?
I have a brother and a sister. So I'm the oldest of 3.
I heard through the rumor, right, that back in the day, maybe if you guys were like an arm wrestling thing, that she beat your ass, you know.
You don't mess with my sister. My sister kicked mine and my brother's ass.
I love it.
She ain't all that.
I love it.
Yeah. I fear her more than most other people.
Okay, so listen, let's just move on. So obviously, college, right? Because this is why you and I are just sitting here right now, right?
Sure.
You go off to your college. Like, you and Ferranti were boys. You meet KJ. And you meet Dave Sapala, like, immediately, like as soon as you get there?
So, real quick, the funniest thing that I have to mention is the way that me and Anthony wound up at your colleges.
Yeah.
Anthony's mother worked in the guidance office at the high school that we went to, Deer Park High School.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I will never forget, I skip all the details, and I'll never forget her saying to him and I one morning, she goes, "Here's your college. They'll take you guys."
They'll take anybody.
A month later, my father sent in a $200 deposit check to go to your college. So I met Kevin within the first week that we were there. You want to hear what's funny? You want to know why he came down the hall to introduce himself? you know, when your freshmen go to college on the dorm rooms, you have your name, everybody's name that's in the dorm. That way you know who's who. So we had Chris Schillaci, Chuck Schillaci, and Anthony Ferranti.
And that was it?
And he couldn't get enough. He couldn't get enough, but he thought that we were in the witness protection program.
Best summer that you had when you were in college?
The best summer that I had when I was in college was the summer after I graduated, the summer of 1994.
Okay.
I actually lived down in Ocean City, Maryland, and our fearless leader, Mr. Kevin Jablon, was a roommate of mine.
Yep.
And if you ask him, he would tell you that he never went to bed until I went to bed because, again, of how loud I am. The living room was right here. His bedroom was right off the living room. So he didn't go to bed until I wanted to go to bed. And Mr. Dave Sapala.
Okay. And so
of Lidditz Flooring was
so those
a
guys,
roommate there
so those
as well.
guys, if I recall, those guys were sales guys at the Kite Loft.
At the Kite Loft.
Right. And you, what were you doing?
I was flipping dough at Franco's Pizzeria.
Love it, dude.
It was the best job in the world. We had a big ass bay window right on the beach.
So you're actually flipping dough? You're actually there?
Kid you not, flipping dough.
Because I know a couple of those places, they on the boardwalk there, right?
Made the dough,
guys that make it.
made the pizzas. Burned my chin on a pizza door once though. That hurt like hell.
On a pizza what?
On the oven door.
On the door of the oven?
Yeah. Yeah, because so real quick, when you'd make pizzas, if you didn't get that dough on that pizza board, sauce, cheese, and in the oven in a minute and a half, the humidity, the dough would stick to the board. So what you would do is before you put it in, you pick the dough up and just blow under it a little bit and you get a bubble and it would slide. So me being the dumbass that I am, rather than pull the pizza out and blow the bubble, I stick my face in and I stuck my face in, my chin hit the oven door and it sizzled. I had a skin on the oven door. And the worst part about it was I just had to keep working.
You go back to Long Island.
Correct.
And tell me what you do. What's your first job out of college?
My first job out of college,
or after the beach, obviously. You guys
came back from the beach. You know, hung around a little while. Just had to get motivated to get out there into the big bad world and start working. I kind of figured to myself, I'm only 23 years old, right? Like, what's the rush? Or 22 years old, I got to work until I'm 65. So let's take it easy. You know what I mean? No need to rush into things. But I was fortunate enough to gain employment at the Bank of New York in Manhattan, down in the financial district.
All right.
And so I was in finance. I was managing equity portfolios for a bunch of years before I got into the flooring industry.
All right, so what did you love about that? Was it simply just about getting the paycheck, cool paycheck?
In the mid-90s, it really depends on the cycle, right? Not to sound like a geek, but the economic cycle where you are. And in the mid-90s. In the mid-90s, I would say from 95 to 2000, it was as bull as a bull market could get, right? The tech industry, the .com industry, like you could take a dart and throw it at a ticker symbol on the NASDAQ and it was going up 5 points that day, right?
Okay.
So there was nothing better, just money pouring into your accounts, people investing like drunken sailors.
So you're just running. Is it like Wolf of Wall Street type craziness, or is it...
Well, I would... As much as I wish, I don't think I'm as handsome as Leo, and I didn't have the same morals and values as Leo. You know what I mean? That movie, he was doing some underhanded stuff in it.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But it was was it crazy?
Right, I got
Was it crazy? Yes. Was it fun? Yes. Now listen, I wasn't working at like Goldman Sachs, right? I wasn't involved in initial public offerings, and I wasn't talking about hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
But I got to manage some pretty good sized portfolios. Got to exchange currencies. It's good stuff.
Awesome. So you left finance and then you immediately got into flooring. That was it. You just.
I immediately got into flooring. So what happened was, abbreviated version. I met a gentleman that was a part owner and a distributor up on Long Island in Deer Park, which is where I grew up.
Okay.
And we met on a Saturday morning at a diner. Diners are huge on Long Island.
The best.
And we just hit it off. We hit it off like you read about. And at the end of the day, he was like, come hell or high water, we're going to find a job where you're working with us and a manufacturer of floor prep products like self-leveling cement, moisture mitigation, travel products.
Yep.
They were like, listen, we need a representation. This particular distributor was going to represent them. And the owner of that company, which doesn't exist any longer, wanted a blank slate. Wanted somebody that knew nothing about leveling, never was involved in prep before, which was me. I was as blank a canvas as I was. I never held a trowel in my hand.
Yeah.
And I was ready, willing, and able to learn.
Yep.
And I was full of you know what and vinegar.
Right.
So that was cool. But I'll take flooring over finance any day.
Yeah. Here at Spartan, for you doing what you do, representing Spartan, representing the product. Listen, just your work ethic, like you're out working our customers, guys, the crew.
No, I
it's great.
appreciate that.
You get out there.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, but I agree with you, and I love doing what I do. I do. I love doing what I do. I love helping our customers, and it's great stuff.
So that was
man.
one of my questions too. Like,
I'm from New York. I'm not from Philly or PA. I've never represented floor covering in my life. I talk funny. People are looking at me like I got 3 heads, right? And it was a grind for a little while. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? I just made sure that my libraries look stellar.
Yeah, and so when I started, you were still calling on A&D.
Yes,
and
I was.
I never forget at the time Timmy Dormer was he was our boss, right?
Yep.
And so I remember him sending these pictures out to all like the new salespeople. He's like, this is how you should prepare every single day, right? And so I also know, like, on top of just your big personality, but like you are just extremely focused, organized, like very detailed person, which again, something like if you just meet you and you're hanging out, I'm not thinking like the back of your car is looking like a Spartan, a Spartan sample warehouse.
It looks like Tetris, like everything's intertwined, is perfect.
And everything's right. So again, just you bringing your passion. And listen, the only way to do a job is 100%, right? So it's a testament to your upbringing and everything else.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So you work for Gail, work with Gail for a long time.
Sure, love Gail.
Every single year, Chuck makes coffee cakes and he hand delivers them to all of his accounts, right? So she said, ask Chuck, where he got the inspiration, whose recipe that is, who taught him how to make, which I call Chucky's kick-ass Christmas coffee cakes, right? Like, so just real quick, where did the inspiration come from? Whose recipe? Is it some aunt's?
It's my sister Lori's.
Okay,
it's my sister
recipe.
Lori-Ann is her full name.
Great.
It's hers. And the reason that I actually made them was, and I'll never forget the first one I delivered was to Jill DiClemente. I'm just starting to represent floor covering. I've only represented like floor prep products, so. I'm like, I got to do something so these people remember who I am in a good way. So I asked Lori, I'm like, hey, Lori, do you mind if I make some of these crumb cakes delivered to some of my firms? I barely pulled out of the parking lot and got an email. Oh my God, what's in this? You got to make this every year, like that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm onto something.
Yeah.
And the happiest, what I get the most joy from, genuinely get the most joy from, is how much is the people telling me how much they enjoy them. Like that makes me feel so good. Like when I'm cursing them, when I'm making them, but then when I'm delivering them, I'm like, oh, good. I'm so happy that I took the time to make these things. It's probably old school
advice to a soon-to-be father. Like, what would be like your number one advice? Again, I mean, like you haven't gotten, like you're starting to get into those teenage years, right? But I'm just saying, up to this point, like let's just say a guy's got a kid coming in 6 months, right? Like, what's your number one advice to prepare to be a father, I guess?
To prepare to be a father and then being one. So I do both. Right. Number one advice to prepare to being a father is, obviously you want to get the nursery set up, all that good stuff.
Sure. Enjoy every bit of like
enjoy every bit of it. I change every diaper, do any feeding that you can, because it's the old adage, right? Like if somebody asks you, I'm sure you say the exact same thing.
Everyone says it, dude. They grow up fast.
You blink. And they're 16
and it's done, right?
And I think about I am so grateful that I still have an 8 going to be 9-year-old, because there are certain things that I think of that I wish I maybe would have done more or something like that with Ashley and Charlie, and instead of me just being like, all right, listen, it's time to go to bed and go downstairs, like lay there with her or read an extra book or anything that she asks. Just I think to myself, like, you're never going to get this time back again. Do it.
Yep.
I love it, Chuck. And that's something that I really, really, really try very hard to give my kids as much time and attention as I can, because, like in an instant, that's how I'm 51, right? Like you turn around, you blink, and you were 30. Now you're 51.
And next thing you know, right? So, and listen, I mean, it is really, really try to enjoy that matter-of-fact time, right?
Cherish it.
Oh, listen, working out. You still work out religiously?
I worked out this morning.
Listen, are you one of those guys in the gyms that are like doing chin-ups with like big chains wrapped around you and have like 45 45-pound plates hanging off of you.
That was like maybe 10 years ago.
Are you grunting? Are you grunting in the gym?
Not anymore.
You're not?
Not anymore.
But were you dropping shit and like making a big like a?
No, when I drop my weights now, I put my hands down on top of them to make sure that they don't. Yeah. You grow up a little bit.
All
you know?
right. So religiously, still going to the gym, still working out. Like how much
do.
you benching these days?
It's funny. I did chest today.
Of course you did.
Why you gonna embarrass me like this? I do a fair amount of weight.
Because it's a funny joke that like just got, people ask like on all these podcasts that I see.
So to be exact, I threw 220 up like 5 or 6 times.
All right, that's fantastic.
Incline.
All right, so listen, we also talked about getting older, right? I'm always asking the same thing, like what kind of supplements are you taking to like kind of ease,
sure,
like kind of ease that stuff. So like, is there any secrets that you like any secret concoctions that you started taking, whether it be vitamins or anything like that, just to listen, dude, I feel it all in my body, man, just achy all the time. I talk to other guys and they're just kind of the same way. We're getting to be that age.
I'll be honest with you.
So
I think that's part of the reason that I stay active is so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I'm very so I drink a ton of water. I don't even take a multivitamin or anything like that. I probably should.
Check.
But I drink.
You don't even take a multivitamin? I
don't. I drink a ton of water.
Well, you're eating like 8 meals a day.
And I just try to eat as much protein as I can. Mm-hmm. Try to keep it lean. You know what I mean? But yeah, I drink a ton of water and eat protein. That's pretty much it.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah,
right.
I try to keep it simple.
Yeah. So listen. Katie McGowan wants to know what's your favorite body part that you say that look at yourself in the mirror like, yeah, looking pretty good.
Chest.
Chest, yeah. All right. Do you shave?
What's that?
I said, do you shave your chest or you just go hairy beast?
No, I do.
You shave that too?
And I never did. And I never did.
At what age did you start shaving your chest?
Oh gosh, like 40 or something like that. 42. We were going somewhere.
You start getting a couple silver hairs popping out. You decided, you know what? I just got to clean this up.
No, it wasn't even that. No, it wasn't even that. We were going somewhere, and I think for whatever reason I shaved my chest, shaved like the whole front, and I think Laura was like, "Oh, I like that," and I was like, "Shaved it is."
All right. Well, that's something I didn't think I was going to get out of you, Chuck. It just kind of flowed that way. Listen, what's your biggest pet peeve? This was another Katie McGowan question for you.
My biggest pet peeve for what?
Just like, what's your biggest pet peeve? Like, just listen. People just. Listen,
yeah, if I had to say my one pet peeve, the one thing that bothers me the most on a daily basis is how terribly people drive.
Yeah. So I can speak just from firsthand knowledge. Chuck and I went into Manhattan. We go through the Holland Tunnel?
Yes, we went through the Holland. We
go through the Holland Tunnel, and I'm a passenger in Chuck's truck, and I'm just going to tell you, this was the most wildest, crazy ride in. Chuck's like literally brake, gas. Guy in front of us must have cut us off. Windows down. You mother. Dude, you're out of your mind. And I'm loving it because listen, I'm driving around North Jersey all the time.
I gotta calm down.
I get out of my mind the same way. I just regret not having filmed this because it started in the tunnel and it just escalated till we got to all that crazy S-turns and all that craziness, Canal Street or whatever. Once you get out of the tunnel, it was just the most entertaining. Listen, half of me think I'm gonna die in the tunnel. I'm not gonna get out, right? And the other half, I'm just laughing my ass off. And it was. I've
since tried to calm down since then because
I just regret not having the video going.
I'm glad I was able to entertain you for the day.
Dude,
what's funny? I actually remember the day. It was July 31st. I don't know why I remembered that, but it was.
Speaking of that, we also had some sandwiches after that, right? How do you say sandwich?
We went to the deli in Jersey.
How do you say sandwich? You say sandwich or is it sandwich?
It's sandwich.
It's sandwich?
Yeah, who the hell puts a G in sandwich?
Phil Carey wanted to know. Long Island, besides family, what do you miss most about the island?
The beach and fresh mozzarella.
And
the bread.
Have you ever made your own?
Bread, everything.
First concert as a kid?
Metallica.
Favorite band now, today? Like if you're just like, listen, man, like listen, favorite workout music, like what old school stuff do you like listen to?
My favorite band of all time is Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
My favorite band currently, probably since the early 90s, mid 90s, is Pearl Jam.
Okay. Listen, like we ever a Beastie Boys guy? I mean, Long Island.
Love the Beasties. How can I not be? They're from Brooklyn.
Course, I know.
You know what's crazy?
Brooklyn
Beasties are from Brooklyn.
Yep.
Public Enemy's from Long Island, and so is Run DMC.
Yeah.
We had a fair share.
Dude, yeah, it was a good time to be growing up, man. You know, like with the music for sure.
Love Run DMC and Public Enemy.
Yeah, that's great.
And the Beasties.
That's awesome. Listen, Chuck, I went this entire, all these questions, all these, you know, all these questions, and I stayed away from the whole. It's always like the 800-pound gorilla. You know, we're just talking about stuff and talking about Chuck and who you sound like and who you.
Just incredible and the perfect voice.
Remind everybody. Oh,
Here it comes.
Actually. Listen, the one Sylvester thing, again, I didn't get into any of these questions because it's too easy, right? To start breaking your chops about, about Sylvester Stallone.
I've been hearing it for 25 years.
What's your favorite Sylvester Stallone movie? The world wants to know.
You know, I tell you, it's one that I think personally flies under the radar because I was originally thinking to myself, Rocky 1. Like the original Rocky.
The old school.
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite. But I'll be honest with you, my favorite Sylvester Stallone movie is Nighthawks.
Nighthawks, I'm going to tell
With
you.
Billy D. Williams.
I've never seen that movie, Chuck.
You're missing a good one.
I'm gonna I'm watching it this weekend.
It's set in like mid 70s, late 70s, New York City.
Yeah, I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff out here, like you dressing up as Santa Claus one year for us.
So
the skinniest Santa Claus I've ever seen.
And when we were doing that charity event for the local families in Harford County,
yep.
and we needed a Santa Claus.
Yep.
I went to go ask Meredith and Lexi twice. And before I could even get the words out of my mouth, I just broke down crying. 2 times. Once there, I think twice. I stepped away. I was like, all right, I got my shit together. Went back, started crying again. And then finally that night we went out in Philly. We went bowling, and I was able to keep my shit together long enough to ask her if I could be Santa Claus. And I have the picture. I still have the picture with your son.
I got the picture of my son. I have a picture of Bobby Beacoat sitting in your lap.
Oh yeah,
and we're definitely gonna pop that one up.
It was a great event, and it was my privilege to be Santa Claus at that event.
That's
the
awesome,
kids,
Chuck.
I will never forget as long as I live. The first kid that came in and saw me, eyes lit up and dashed at me and jumped in my lap, and I almost cried again.
I love it, Chuck.
Yeah.
Well, listen. All right, listen. Final question, Chuck.
Go ahead.
Who are you gonna interview?
Wow, I tell you, I gotta be honest with you. That's tough. The person I would like to interview next would be Mike Blasek.
It's great. Man, thank you very much, buddy.
Oh,
I appreciate
Scott,
it, dude. This was a great time.
It was a lot of fun,
Listen, I was
man.
getting excited about this. I knew, listen, this is why I picked you, because it was probably the easiest interview. I didn't have to coax anything out of you. I just fucking wind you up and spin you out, dude, and you're just going to roll with it.
Like I often say, I am like a wind-up doll here.
All right, thanks a lot. So, Spartan Nation, look forward to Chuck's interview. It's going to be epic. It's going to be great, and that's it.
Thanks for having me.